What is up, guys? Eric here from Real Film Reviews, bringing you another movie review, this time for the new Elizabeth Banks film, Brightburn. Brightburn is directed by David Yarovesky, stars Elizabeth Banks, David Denman, and Jackson Dunn. This film tells the story of a reimagining of Superman, we'll say, where if Superman were to crash land in a small town called Brightburn, Kansas, and he goes through his life and doesn't really realize the strength that he has, but once he does, rather than turning to defending people and defending good in the American way, he decided that he wanted to be evil and bring pain and suffering upon the people that are mean and evil towards him. And that is the story of this film. I think the plot of this movie is one of its greatest strengths because it takes a story that everyone knows. Everyone knows Superman's story. A baby lands, is raised in like Midwestern cornfield America, and then becomes a good person who decides that he's going to use the power that he was given to protect the world and save the innocent. And I think that that's a very honorable tale, even though I personally hate Superman and think he's a trash character. This film, though, was very interesting to me because I think that this is a much more likely telling of that tale. If you were some alien being with superpowers, wouldn't it make way more sense that you'd see just how awful human beings are to one another and think, hey, maybe I could do a better job if I became their leader because they can't stop me? And that's really what this movie is. It's about a kid who, when he realizes his power, decides that that's maybe the next course of action. And I think that that's a really cool twist on a classic tale. The effects in the movie were surprisingly good. I know that this movie probably didn't get handed some massive budget, so the fact that they made it look as good as they did was really great. I think there are a few shots in this film that involve the special effects that are honestly extremely impressive. There's especially one near the end of the film that I think is the best shot in the whole movie, and it's done on a green screen, but it looks fantastic. The performances in the movie are good. I don't think anyone really had a crazy role to play. I think David Denman as the dad played a really good, strict authoritarian figure, and then Elizabeth Banks as the mom was very good as someone who would constantly defend her son, never thinking that he could do something wrong. And I think that those are both very believable characters for them to play. And Jackson Dunn, who to me is an unknown, I'd never seen him in anything before, was really good as the kid. He plays this very smart, shy, nerdy kid in the beginning, but it very quickly turns throughout the film where you see him become more sadistic and aware of the power that he truly has. My issues with the film revolve around two things, and they both are good and bad in the film. So the first is the violence and the gore and the action throughout it. I think that this movie's gore and violence is extremely, extremely brutal and graphic and horrific, and that's what it needed to be because there isn't a lot of it. And I think that that's the issue here. I love what's in the movie. It works so well with the story that we're seeing. But I think there needed to be more of it so that way we could really get those thrills and that real suspense from the tale. But instead, we only get a few sequences of it. And then to go along with that, the movie's thrills and I guess you could say scares aren't really existent because of it. Sure, there's some kind of creepy moments, but there really isn't anything that's very thrilling or horrifying, which I didn't expect this movie to be scary necessarily, but I was hoping it would invest in more of us seeing what this kid is capable of and seeing him do these things to people to the point where as the film progresses, we as an audience are more and more filled with suspense because we know what he could do to the people in the scenes. But instead, since there's so few scenes, it doesn't really build that suspense enough, and instead all we get is just a bunch of jump scares. This movie invests way too heavily in jump scares, and it really sucked because by the end of it, I was just tired of seeing jump scares because it's all this movie had to offer in terms of thrills. I'm gonna give Brightburn a C+. I think that this movie has a really cool concept that definitely could go farther, and if it got a sequel, I'd be really happy because I'd love to see where they could go from here. I don't know if it will, but I do think that the concept alone of this film and the sort of twist on a really well-known story makes it worth a watch, and at 90 minutes, it's really not anything that you could say you don't have a reason to see. Is it something you need to go to the theater for? No, this is one you can probably wait till it's on Netflix to watch. Well guys, as always, I'm Eric. If you enjoyed this video, please do like, subscribe, comment down below what you thought of Brightburn, share everything we do here on Real Film Reviews, and hope to see you guys later.